If Terence Crawford moves up to fight Canelo, it's going to be a worse fight than fucking Charlo running around Canelo by murder against Crawford. That shit wouldn't happen. They have weight classes for it.
CaneloAlvarez and Terence Crawford are gearing up for a blockbuster showdown around the Cinco de Mayo weekend. But for Crawford, the battle isn't just inside the ring against his formidable Mexican opponent. It's also against a wave of growing criticism. Though he's no stranger to doubters, this time the noise feels louder, the skepticism sharper, and the pressure heavier than ever. And that includes the
Canelo. They want to see it.
Crawford cares about his life, and with that fight, what do that fight do for Canelo? Fighting Crawford, and Crawford beats Canelo. What do that do for Canelo?
The heated controversy surrounding the outcome of the fight has only intensified the focus on Crawford, who now faces the daunting challenge of taking on the legendary Canelo Álvarez. While Crawford has long dealt with doubters, the skepticism this time is more intense and widespread than ever before. Many within the boxing world are sounding the alarm, cautioning that putting his undefeated record on the line against Canelo could end in the first blemish of his storied career.
I think that there are so many other fights to make that's realistic and makes sense and less life risking on top of the risk that we risk stepping in there with guys our weight.
Roy Jones Jr., one of the most dominant fighters of his time, continues to influence the landscape of modern boxing. At the forefront are Terence Crawford and Canelo Álvarez, both considered among the finest pound-for-pound fighters of their generation. The prospect of a clash between these two titans has sent shockwaves through the boxing world, drawing global attention. Now, it seems Roy Jones Jr. could be instrumental in making this long-anticipated mega-fight a reality.
Boot time to take over and start beating the guys around him. He's the best of that group. Bud is in a group above him. Bud don't need to come back down to 47 and meet him. That's crazy.
Terence Crawford, a 4-division world champion, has voiced his interest in taking on Canelo Álvarez, the current ruler of the super middleweight division. However, the significant weight disparity between the two presents a major hurdle for the American star as he considers moving up to face one of boxing's most powerful champions.
Bud looking to try to make history and get out. Get his big bank and get out. His big bank is who? Canelo. He willing to take that gamble.
In a recent interview with Mill City Boxing, Roy Jones Jr. shared his perspective on a potential clash between Terence Crawford and Canelo Álvarez. While he lauded Crawford's exceptional skill and ring IQ, the boxing legend leaned toward Canelo as the early favorite, largely due to his size and power. "I like Terence, but I'm going to lean toward Canelo early because of his size," Jones said. However, if Canelo allows Terence to settle in, Crawford becomes a serious threat. If Crawford can manage the size gap, he wins. Jones emphasized Canelo's punching power as a critical factor in shaping the fight's outcome, noting the need for decisiveness in the ring. "In a fight, you have to trust your instincts. There's no time to hesitate. That's why I'm going with Canelo," he explained. "But if he lets Crawford get comfortable, Crawford could take over. That's why I expect Canelo to start fast and strong."
If he beats him, he may go fight Benavidez next. If he don't beat him, he say, "Okay, I'll take it as high as I can go. I'm done."
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy if he gets the win.
"That's the thing," Jones Jr. explained. "We won't know until we see Terence take a real shot. We've never seen him absorb that kind of power. That's the key. If you can hurt Bud and disrupt his game plan, you've got a shot at beating him. But if you can't hurt him, you can't throw him off, and then you're in trouble." His analysis underscores the crucial challenge Crawford faces: neutralizing Canelo's famed punching power. If Crawford can rely on his elite technical skills and evade the heavy shots, he may have a real chance to pull off a historic upset. For now, while fans remain excited about the potential mega-fight, Canelo Álvarez remains focused on his immediate opponent.
A little big for Crawford. I'm not sure about that because Crawford does have punching power and shock, but I think Canelo's a little big. He showed tonight that he's pretty big, so I probably would rather see.
International Boxing Federation interim champion William Skull has recently emerged as a potential challenger for Canelo Álvarez. However, that wasn't always the focus for Roy Jones Jr., the Hall of Famer, now a seasoned promoter, trainer, and analyst, had previously suggested that both Terence Crawford and David Benavidez possessed the tools to potentially defeat Canelo, though he's since refined his stance. Possible showdown with Benavidez. Jones acknowledged the matchup's complexity. "It's a tough fight to call because Benavidez throws a lot of punches," he said in an interview with BoxingScene.com. "But sometimes, power can step in and completely change the fight.
Charlo fight Crawford first, and then see how that goes. If he does good against Charlo with the weight, then let's see him come up and fight Canelo. Yes, but not right.
The question is whether Canelo is willing to take that risk, Jones observed. Right now, I don't think he is, because I don't believe he sees a good enough reason to. If he can't hurt Benavidez in the first 3 or 4 rounds, I don't see him winning that fight. David Benavidez, a 2-time champion at 168 pounds, has been calling for a bout with Canelo for more than 2 years. Meanwhile, TerenceCrawford, formerly regarded as the top welterweight in weight divisions for a chance at the Mexican superstar. Yet Canelo remains unconvinced, questioning whether a win over Crawford would meaningfully enhance his already storied legacy. Despite that skepticism, many believe Crawford has a legitimate chance to shock the boxing world.
I want to see Crawford come up with some weight classes and show he can be dominant at 54. You understand me?
That fight will go Crawford and
Crawford won a pound best fighter.
****. If anyone can pull it off, it's Crawford, said Jones. You can't tell him no. I was the same way. If someone said they were better than me and I could get close to their weight, I was coming for them. I gave up 33 pounds to John Ruiz when I won the heavyweight title in 2003. I didn't care. I wanted to prove I was the pound-for-pound best and make history. That's probably exactly where Bud's mindset is right now. He wants to do something historic, something that will define his legacy. And really, who wouldn't want to see the pound-for-pound king of yesterday take on the pound-for-pound king of today? It's a mega mindset and skill set. If Bud adds the muscle and carries the weight properly, how can you doubt him? One thing's for sure, he's not stepping into that ring for a payday. He's going in there to win, because that's who Bud is. He can box like Floyd Mayweather, but he can also fight. He hits and doesn't get hit. If he can withstand the power at that weight, there's a real chance he wins.
I can bet the house on is Bud. Because me and him, we so much alike in our mentality. Like soon as I see this dude,
Asterisk Jones, a 4-division title holder who often moved between weight classes in the later years of his career, believes Canelo Álvarez should remain focused on the super middleweight division. It's definitely best for Álvarez to stay at 168, Jones stated. I never quite understood why he moved up to 175 to fight Dimitri Bivol in the first place. He had already beaten Sergey Career. Bivol, on the other hand, is in his prime. They're two completely different fighters. Canelo caught Kovalev at the right time. He should go back down and dominate his division, rather than seeking out another challenge like that. Lightning isn't going to strike twice. Meanwhile, former 2-time world champion Andre Ward has also chimed in on the potential super fight between Canelo Álvarez and TerenceCrawford, adding yet another layer of intrigue to the ongoing discussions.
We so much alike in our mentality. Like soon as I see this dude, he come in the room or I come in the room, we start arguing about basketball.
Terence "Bud" Crawford has had his eyes on Canelo Álvarez ever since his career-defining victory over welterweight rival Errol Spence Jr. last year. While Canelo initially brushed off the idea of a fight, he recently suggested that he might consider defending his super middleweight titles against the naturally smaller Crawford if the financial incentive was substantial enough. Smoke Podcast, former undefeated champion Andre Ward, who retired with a perfect 32-0 record, weighed in on some of boxing's most intriguing potential matchups. I want to see Canelo face either TerenceCrawford or David Benavidez, Ward said. You've got 2 options. You can either take on someone in your own weight class or face the smaller guy, TerenceCrawford.
Wrestling, anything, bro. Like, man, you can't, man, you looking small. What you mean I'm looking small? You looking small. Like, it's just that, like, you gotta really hurt that dude.
When it comes to the potential Crawford-Canelo showdown, Andre Ward says he's backing the fighter who last fought 3 weight classes lower. I'm not betting against Terence right now, against anybody, Ward declared. We're talking about the most skilled fighters in the game today, and Crawford is someone you can bet the house on. He's not just skilled, his heart and mindset set him apart. He and I share a similar mentality. There aren't many fighters like that out there right now. A lot of guys talk the talk, but until you're in that real fight, we don't know what you truly have. I'm not saying it's an easy fight, but in a 50-50 matchup, that's when we see who you really are.
Canelo. Like I said, I've been saying this. I don't think size win fights. I think skills do. So yeah, I think like being a southpaw with good movement and sharp boxing, it'd be hard for Canelo with that high guard to walk him down and load up on them big hooks. I think Bud would be Canelo.
He's different. He's a dog. That's the kind of stuff that gets me out of my seat, says Shakur Stevenson, who considers Terence Crawford his big brother. Stevenson believes Crawford would defeat Canelo Álvarez if they ever met in the ring, despite the significant 14-pound weight disadvantage Crawford would face against the Mexican superstar. Unlike Jamal Charlo, who has expressed interest in facing Crawford, Canelo has shown little enthusiasm for the matchup, citing the size difference as a major hurdle. However, Stevenson doesn't view the weight disparity as a concern for Crawford, arguing that skills, not size, ultimately decide fights. The former two-weight world champion is confident that Crawford's southpaw stance, exceptional movement, and solid fundamentals give him the edge to trouble Canelo and secure a victory.
Who knows? That smile's telling me something else, bro. I think it might be on the line, no? I'm just saying, man. We can't say it's not going to happen. We can't say that it is.
In an interview with IFL TV, Shakur Stevenson shared his thoughts on Terence Crawford's next move in boxing. Terence Crawford is running things right now, Stevenson said. When asked who Crawford should face next, Stevenson expressed his desire to see him fight Jamal Charlo, even though Charlo is already set to face Canelo Álvarez. Despite Charlo's upcoming bout, Stevenson is confident that Crawford could defeat Canelo. Being a southpaw with great movement and solid boxing skills, it would be tough for Canelo to walk him down and land his powerful hooks, Stevenson explained. I wish Charlo wasn't fighting Canelo, but it is what it is. I truly believe Bud could beat Canelo, and I'd love to see it. For me, size doesn't win fights, skills do.
Because the way Crawford is doing it is because he knows it's the biggest payday in his life, and he'll never, maybe what he could get against Canelo, he's never made in all his fights combined.
The potential matchup between Canelo Álvarez and Terence Crawford has become one of the most highly anticipated fights in boxing today, and with Saudi Arabia's increasing involvement in the sport, it seems more likely than ever. Trainer Robert Garcia weighed in on the fight, acknowledging that Canelo holds a clear advantage over Crawford. He also addressed Crawford's situation, suggesting that if the Omaha boxer doesn't secure a fight with Canelo soon, retirement might be on the horizon. However, Garcia emphasized that Canelo is already highly motivated, and if Crawford's frustration doesn't push him into the ring soon, it may be Canelo's own drive that becomes the deciding factor.
So of course, why would he call up Benavidez when he's calling out Canelo knowing that he's going to make double the money?
Because he wants to fight at 68, that's why.
So that's why, Eddie.
Crawford is a smart man, Garcia said in an interview with Fight Hype. He's already accomplished everything he set out to do. He's achieved a lot and doesn't need to challenge himself any further. He doesn't have anything left to prove. Garcia went on to mention that he's had personal conversations with Crawford and believes the boxer genuinely wants the big fight against Canelo. However, if that matchup doesn't come to fruition, Garcia speculated that Crawford might consider retirement. He also pointed out that Crawford still has plenty of opportunities in the junior middleweight division if he decides to pursue them. Potential challenges include WBC and WBO champion Sebastian Fundora, as well as other notable opponents like IBF champion Bakram Murtazaliev, Jamal Charlo, Virgil Ortiz Jr., Sergey Bohachuk, and Xander Zayas.
You know why? He wants to make the biggest fucking payday.
Does he have a chance in the fight?
Everybody has a chance, but I think he'll put up some good rounds. I think he loses to Canelo, but he'll put up good rounds, better than Charlo did.
For Robert Garcia, Crawford no longer needs to seek another fight. Given his outstanding career and unbeaten record, he has nothing left to prove. He's already accomplished it, Garcia explained. I don't see him fighting just to satisfy fans who say he needs to face this or that opponent.
For Robert Garcia, Crawford no longer needs to pursue additional fights given his exceptional career and undefeated record. He has nothing left to prove. He's already accomplished everything, Garcia explained. I don't see him fighting just to satisfy fans who demand he faces this or that opponent. Garcia believes that if money were the primary motivator, Crawford wouldn't need to fight again, as he's already secured his financial future through wise investments. The only reason Crawford would return to the ring, according to Garcia, would be for a shot at Canelo, aiming to cap off his career on a high note. He's going to look for that big fight and enjoy his life, Garcia added. He's a very smart man, He's invested his money wisely and doesn't need to fight again. But if the Canelo fight comes, he'll take it. Otherwise, he might never fight again.
Crawford, Canelo.
He'll fight. He'll probably get stopped and get knocked out. But he'll put up some good rounds. Yeah, but he'll put up.
If a fight against the Guadalajara boxer takes place, Robert Garcia believes Crawford could compete with Canelo for several rounds. Maybe not enough to win, but enough to earn his respect and that of the public, Garcia explained. I think Crawford could hold his own for a few good rounds. The first 6 to 8 rounds would be very competitive. Crawford has the skills, great speed, and solid power to earn Canelo's respect and show him that same respect. However, Garcia also believes that eventually, Canelo's size and strength will take over. Still, he added, those first 6 rounds would make for a very entertaining fight.
I don't think we've seen anything like Terence Crawford. In all my years of boxing, I know that for a fact. I do study history. I've never seen anybody that has everything.
The potential fight between Canelo Álvarez and Terence Crawford still feels more like a dream than a reality. A major hurdle is more than just agreeing on a multi-million-dollar purse. Even if the offer is the best of Canelo's career, he might not be flexible enough to accept it. However, former WBO and WBC light welterweight champion Tim Bradley doesn't believe external factors can halt Crawford's momentum, especially with all the added discussion surrounding UFC weight and length. Instead, Bradley believes that only Crawford himself holds the power to end his dominant reign in the sport.
Good speed, power, timing, can switch the way he switches, to have the toughness, the meanness that he has, the way he finishes guys, the way he breaks down guys.
Tim Bradley believes the only person who can defeat Terence Crawford at this point is Crawford himself. In a recent interview with Fight Hype, Bradley said, "I think the only person who can beat Crawford is himself." While he encourages others to push themselves in the gym, Crawford is already focused on seeking his next challenge. Canelo may be the champion and deserving of respect, but when it comes to skill, Bradley firmly backs Crawford. "Skill for skill, Crawford all day," he said. Bradley acknowledges that while he'd be nervous if the two fought, due to Canelo's power, he believes Crawford's athleticism, defense, and ring movement would give him the edge. As long as Crawford uses his legs, his athleticism, and his defense to stay out of the way, he should be able to beat Canelo, Bradley explained. Interestingly, he believes Crawford could outbox Canelo in a similar way Floyd Mayweather Jr. did back in 2013 when he defeated the Mexican star at 22 years old in a catchweight bout.
One of the smartest guys that I've ever seen in the ring, right up there with Floyd Mayweather. So, yeah, I would pick Terence Crawford to beat a Canelo Álvarez, even at 168.
Terence Crawford is about to turn 37 and has never fought above 147 pounds. This means that if he faces Canelo Álvarez, he would be stepping up in weight without having previously faced top contenders at 168 pounds. While many fans would likely support Crawford if he chose to test himself against the best in the 160 and 168 pound divisions, there is a growing perception that Crawford is more focused on securing a massive payday from a fight with Canelo. For many, this matchup appears to be a golden opportunity for Crawford to set himself up for a comfortable retirement, rather than a true test of his skills.
Everybody can call me crazy and whatever you want to say. I get it. Y'all didn't believe me when I told you about Spence, but trust me, Crawford will figure out a way.
Bradley continued, noting that Crawford's mentality sets him apart as a top pound-for-pound fighter. However, he also pointed out that it remains uncertain whether Crawford will prove to be any different from Charlo, as Crawford has not volunteered to test himself against top super middleweights. This lack of competition at the higher weight classes leaves fans with less of a clear reference point to gauge how Crawford would fare against the division's best.
I know a secret y'all don't know, and I ain't gonna tell you why I would pick Terence Crawford, but it's part of the secret is the reason why I'm picking him to win the fight. So,
is it like a skill set? Is it like a preparation thing, or
nope?
If Crawford decided to prove himself against David Benavidez or David Morrell, you'd feel confident that he's not just showing up for the payday against Canelo without aiming to win, Bradley explained. But since Crawford has no intent...
Bradley explained that if Crawford were to prove himself against top super middleweights like David Benavidez or David Morrell, it would show that he's not just seeking a payday against Canelo, but is genuinely aiming to win. However, since Crawford has no intention of facing any of these top 168-pound fighters before taking on Canelo, Bradley believes it's clear that the motivation is financial rather than competitive. While Charlo was never considered a top pound-for-pound fighter, Crawford's exceptional skill set sets him apart. Bradley believes that Crawford's competitive nature and his long-standing desire to face Canelo mean he will perform well against him. He's in it for more than just the money.
Ever a top pound-for-pound guy, but Crawford's skill set is what sets him apart. He's a competitor, and he's been chasing Canelo. He wants to fight him, and I truly believe he'll do well against Canelo. Ring board on it.
Just gonna put it like this. If the fight was to happen, you will see. Yeah.
Because a lot of people think Terence can't come.
Am I nervous about the fight if it happens? Hell yeah, because Canelo can punch. That guy hits hard, and all it takes is one shot, Bradley said. If he lands clean on someone like Terence, who's moving up 3 weight classes, it could be dangerous. Still, Bradley pointed to Floyd Mayweather's 2013 win over a 22-year-old Canelo as evidence that elite boxing IQ can neutralize size and power. Mayweather outthought and outsmarted him, Bradley added. He believes Crawford could similarly use his ring intelligence to overcome the size disadvantage. However, Bradley admits it's uncertain whether Crawford could replicate Mayweather's success, especially since Mayweather faced Canelo at a catch weight of 154 pounds, not at super middleweight.
He touches Canelo, because he's been hit by bigger guys, he's not gonna, I don't want to say show him respect, but he's gonna be able to go, okay, I could walk through this, I could take a little risk and set up my traps, cut the ring off, dig to the body, and wear Terence down over the rounds.
I'll tell you like this.
That wasn't a case of Mayweather moving up to 168 and facing a prime Canelo at full strength, Bradley pointed out. But I do believe there's enough evidence to support Crawford's ability. He continued, Crawford has what it takes to outbox Canelo, outthink him, make him miss, and make him pay. As long as he's not getting hit too often and relies on his legs, athleticism, and defense to stay away from the big shots, I think he can beat Canelo.
The others say like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like once he gets touched by Canelo, it's gonna be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds.
Canelo is slow and methodical, but he has a good jab, decent quickness, and throws a lot of hooks, said Tim Bradley. Crawford just needs to avoid all that, slip underneath, and he should be able to beat Canelo. Bradley continued, we're judging based on what Charlo did, but Charlo didn't do anything. He fought scared. He didn't want to get knocked out, and I don't blame him. No one wants to end up on a highlight reel. But he said he wanted to be great, and he wasn't great that night. Crawford, on the other hand, is daring to be great, and I believe he can do it. While Canelo hasn't paid much attention to the challenge, fans remain divided on what would happen in a potential bout. Meanwhile, former champion Sean Porter, who knows Crawford well, has voiced some concern about the matchup.